Alright, I guess I should do some kind of video game thing when I'm here. Because I got messaged about Street Fighter 6, I'm gonna say the same fucking thing. I guess there's another beta test or something. Please stop overly beta testing these games. It's fucking ridiculous. You know, the game is gonna be like a year old already by the time it's come out, especially when you think that this game, what, I guess people, it's been cracked or something and people have been playing online the entire fucking time, dude. It's ridiculous. I don't know how anyone in the community stays excited for this shit when it's always so old. I've said before again, you know, in a way it's kind of like, it's kind of like, bad for me in a sense because I'm the dude that can always just look at something and predict how the game is going to work. But I said before, I should not be able to predict all these games. These games should not be so overly beta tested. It's kind of weird because in a weird way, I'm one of those people that I don't be in mind spoiled for a movie or for like an anime, manga, whatever it might be, because if it sounds bad, then I'm not going to watch it. And if it sounds good, it makes me want to see it, the real process of it. Like if it's like, oh wow, that's a cool idea. That sounds cool. Is it actually that cool when I watch it? So in a weird way, I don't mind being spoiled for other forms of media. But for video games, even though I'm the guy predicting all these games and changing the perspective on all these games all the time, I think it's ridiculous how spoiled these games are. It's boring. Like, I can even say, dude, I actually have not watched all the Street Fighter 6. I was about to say Street Fighter 5. That's how fucking, I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. I was about to say Street Fighter 6, or Street Fighter 5. Street Fighter 6 is the one that's coming out. I was about to say Street Fighter 5. Street Fighter 6. I haven't even bothered to watch all this footage, dude. Because it's like, I just don't care, dude. It's like, I don't want to be, I'm already too spoiled. I think it's ridiculous that, again, Street Fighter 6, what was it? It was, they were first showing footage of it when I was in Turkey, so I was late to even seeing it. You saw all these other, players getting invited to play the game and at all these different events, and eventually when I got back to America so long after that, I eventually sat down and looked at a little bit of the footage, and I just thought it was ridiculous that these guys had so much free time to play the game that they even, I guess they got bored, and instead of actually trying stuff, they just recorded computer versus computer matches. Here's my computer versus computer matches. Here's my computer versus computer matches. Like, if you have that much fucking time to play the game brand new, like, don't you want to explore, try something new? And I said before, I was like, and literally, again, because I haven't been watching all this new fucking footage, dude, because I'm already too spoiled. I don't even know if I'm going to get the game. I'm so already over it, dude. Is when I looked at that footage, I'm like, you know what I would have tried? The very first 5 seconds, I would have been like, let me see what Green Slimer Rush does with auto combos in the air. Does it give auto combos a different property in the air? Does it change juggles? Do that, blah, 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 blah. And then guess what? None of these guys did that. None of these guys did any of that. All these first few times they were playing the game. Then guess what? After I made that video, and these same guys that fucking follow me that were at that fucking event and got to play the game and uploading all their own footage, then they found it. Whoa, even though they follow me on Twitter and YouTube, bro, after I posted, I'm like, that's fucking 5 seconds. I would have said, try that shit. And then I said, I would have tried, how fast is a whiff parry? I want to see how fast whiff parry is, if that you can use it in between stuff to actually get bigger combos. Oh, guess what? What happened on Twitter after that? Oh, whiff parry for bigger combos. Whiff parry here, because it's faster, blah, 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 blah. That's all you fucking saw. It's like, man, 5 seconds of footage. I watched literally, it wasn't even 5 minutes. I don't even know how fucking long it was. I'm like, that's what I fucking would have tried. And guess what? That's all people post. It's like, dude, I just fucking spoiled the game. And there's still some other stuff that I talked about that I haven't seen people post. I haven't seen anyone try some of those weird block strings that I talked about since, the gray blocking, I guess, makes you whatever. There's some here and there things, but, in general, I just saw that and I'm like, man, this game doesn't come out for a fucking year. This game doesn't come out for a fucking year. Apparently it's cracked. Yes, I've never played it too. I've never played any of the betas or anything, or this cracked beta, This game isn't coming out for a year, and I already fucking predicted how it's going to work. Some of these mechanics from 5 seconds that no one else was doing during when they were playing the game for so long that they got bored that they just started uploading computer versus computer matches. It just doesn't interest me. And I'll say, What do I think of Street Fighter 6 overall? The non-binary transgender system. Again, I'll say the same thing. I think Capcom in general, to their credit, they still, they try to put like a new system on every game, and a new system is one of the only things you can do for a fighting game, right? Because inevitably, a fighting game is basically two characters fighting, a background, some music in the background, that's it. There's not a lot of different character archetypes that you can do, at this point at the stage in the game of fighting games, So one of the only new things you can do is try to add a new system. And, sometimes when you add a new system like Dragon Ball Fighter Z, then you actually could have added a new character archetype, which is why Dragon Ball Fighter Z is a failure of a game. It's a lost. They dropped the ball on that because they could have added new character archetypes because they had such a new system, right? But watch those in those game theory videos. But Street Fighter, Capcom, in general, they're trying to make new systems. Not like King of Fighters, who is every fucking system is like, oh, what does this move do? Oh, it juggles. Oh, this one's going to let you juggle more. Oh, this is going to let you juggle more. Oh, you're going to juggle more. Oh, what does this move do? Well, it juggles and then it juggles more. It's fucking retarded. That's why I don't give a fuck about King of Fighters anymore. They don't even know what the fuck they're doing. They can't reinvent anything. It's fucking boring as fuck. But at least Capcom, to their credit, at least they make new systems. The non-binary transgender system. You can be a top or a bottom. You have your super on the bottom. And, I think the system is kind of interesting. The tug of war, like I said, the tug of war, my meter versus your meter, with the fucking, I don't even know what they're called. I'm calling it was like the Slimer Rush and the fucking, is it a drive impact? The drive impact. I like the tug of war. It's kind of interesting. And I've said before, one of the problems of fighting games is that sometimes supers don't feel special enough anymore because a lot of times these games are becoming so versatile in terms of meter usage. A lot of times these versatile meter usage moves you can have, like whether it be an EX move or something like that, or a force break in Guilty Gear, whatever you want to call it, or you have these fucking Slimer rushes, or you go back and you look at games like, let's say Alpha 2, for sake of argument. We can use our meter for different things like alpha combos and custom combos. And because of that, the supers don't feel quotation mark super as much, which is even weirder in Alpha 2 because you think of how toned down supers were. It's like, wow, my Ryu Super Fireball is now super fucking slow, like in Alpha 2. And it's like, so we have more versatile usages for our meter now, like things like alpha counter, and we have custom combos, and they have so overtaken the superness of supers, right? So what I'm getting at again is one of the problems as fighting games have progressed through a lot of games is supers don't feel super anymore. They don't feel special because the games, again, as they've progressed and become more versatile, certain aspects aren't actually that versatile or useful anymore. So that's why I do think that Street Fighter 6, I think it's, it's an acceptable idea that now you have just your super at the bottom. You can go, like I said, I tried to make the joke that it's going to be it's crazy. I tried to make a joke. That's crazy, dude. I made the joke right when I saw the system on the FTC and NBC. It's like, oh, it's going to be, you can be a top or bottom. It's a non-binary, gender fluid, transgender system. I'm like, whatever. I'm like, that's okay. I'll accept it. Capcom does something different, So it's keeping supers feeling special, right? We have the versatile usages of the tug of war of the top and bottom, or the top, both of our top bars. That's the tug of war between you and the other player. Do I use my drive impact here? Because you can use this here. How much do we want to spend here? Blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean? I would like to see moves do more guard meter when you block it, etc. I do think that. But I do like that the super... And the top bar is the EX. Because you have EX meter 2 is the top bar, like I said. But so you can still use those tools while still having a use. Wow, look at that! Still use those tools while still having a use for the super, and the super will still feel special, right? Now I hope that the supers don't only end up being, a specific use, like that's my super combo. That's just super's only for, like, I like having, I've talked about before, one of the problems in Dragon Ball Fighter Z is supers feel a lot of times like combo filler. Like, even if a lot of supers, look different or they sort of, have a different aesthetic, inevitably, a lot of supers don't have a lot of actual use outside of that combo filler, like what you would feel like they have. You're not laser beaming someone to death because block damage isn't what it should be. You know, a lot of supers, say Vegito, he teleports, and he does the big punch on you. That could be a reversal super or some shit, dude. Give him a one frame reversal. He can teleport out of, air setups, whatever the fuck it might be. I like supers having versatility and stuff like that. So I hope the supers are actually, they feel versatile as well, while still, the fact you can use them. But other than that, I think the main thing that sticks out about Street Fighter 6 is, again, because I haven't watched the fucking footage, a lot of it, you know what I mean? Like, I haven't watched all this new footage of fucking, I think that Zangief came out, Cammy came out, there's footage, right? The man, it's a man baby or something, guy, man, girl, whatever the fuck that person was, the big girl. Oh, and there's like a ballerina girl or something like that. See, I haven't even bothered to watch all the footage because it's like I'm already too spoiled. I'm already too fucking spoiled. I don't give a fuck, you know. But one of the problems and things that worries me about Street Fighter 6, as I said before, is right from the get go. And I think it's interesting, if because of the tug of war and how much you're using for the top bar, there's that burnout state. Is that what they call it? Am I right? Again, I've looked at so little footage. Green Slimer Rush. I don't know what the fuck it's called. Green Slimer Rush, right? But there's the burnout state where you do take, that kind of stuff is interesting. But I don't like the homogenization of, even though characters are bigger and smaller, if you've watched all the footage or watched the footage that I've seen at least, again, I guess I haven't watched it in, I guess it would have been last year. Wow, last year? Last year, is that when that beta was? The first one? Or not the first one, whatever the one that, the open beta, where that was, whatever the fuck it was. Whatever the case, rambling. I don't like when the homogenization of a character can be ducking, and even small characters get hit by like a character walking up and standing jab. Everyone's standing jab, you know what I mean, is hitting you when you're blocking low. That's part of the interesting thing about Street Fighter is some characters are like the poking characters that when you duck block, you know what I mean, you can't avoid their poking attacks. Some characters, when you duck block, you know what I mean, they don't have poking attacks to harass you while you're duck blocking. So I don't like that kind of fucking homogenization. And I said before, I don't like when you tap, tap, tap when everyone can like tap, tap, tap in the same way. Same quotation marks, same way, I like characters feeling different. I like different feeling hurt boxes and hit boxes. I don't want every character to be able to walk up, stand, jab. You know what I mean? I want that stuff to feel different. I want the pokey, fast characters to be able to be those characters that poke you, all right? Just like back in the day. You think Super Turbo, they gave Ken that standing roundhouse, and it's like, wow, he has a poke, a walking poke that actually hits you ducking. Ryu didn't have that, right? That's something that's interesting. Anyway, remember, if you like the videos, like, sub, comment, share, support the channel if you want. I appreciate it. Thanks. The end.